mann som vecklar bröd och snusbullar.
Hello YouTubes, hello world, it's Shawna once again from DisruptApps LLC and moving right along with this tutorial series. And we learned how to use JavaScript to write really efficient code that allows us to modularize our code so that we can render out things like our nav menu that has a lot of repetitious code, and by using arrays and using the for loops, using the string template methodology with the interpolation methods of concatenation, that we can leverage the power of JavaScript to write really clean, simple code that we only have to change in one place, like up in here, to make lots of changes in our project or our application or website without having to go in page by page, like about, blog, careers, contacts, etc. And we learned how to structure our domain or our project folder in such a way that instead of coming into each one of these files, we just create modular scripts that will contain, for say, like our nav menu script, and it will contain our index scripts that would only be used on the index page, and about scripts that would only be used on the about page. So in that tutorial, we covered a lot of ground, and so you can see we used in tandem together, we used an array and a for loop. And I like to say the arrays and for loops are the dynamic duo, and you can do so much with this technique. And so in this video, I want to talk about a topic called multidimensional arrays. Let me go ahead and spell that out up here. Okay, and we'll say multidimensional array or arrays. And so, well, what does that mean? Well, multi means many, and dimensions, well, how about 1 dimension, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions, 4? So dimensions is dimensions. So I don't know if I can really explain that right now, but I made a little diagram. It's a cheesy little diagram, but let me go ahead and pull it up. And this is the way that I like to visually think of an array. And I remember we talked about so we have this understanding a multi-dimensional array, and then we have our up here, this is the syntax for accessing each of the array, right? And I talked about how an array has indexes or slots or positions. So x equals 0, and it'll get whatever is in the 0 position. X is 1 gets 1, x is 2 is 2. Let me go ahead and pull up my code. So as you can see here, like this is for repetition, because repetition is good. So we have our syntax, and like 0 is going to get the index, and then 1 is going to get about, and then blog 2 is number 2, right? So we learned that in the last tutorial. Well, what you can do, what's really powerful and really cool about multidimensional arrays, is that you can put, if I can get this thing to cooperate, is you can put arrays within arrays. And this might be confusing at first, but when you get the hang of this, this is so powerful, and it becomes easy to work with. And you can do second order, and then you're looking at a second order. I think that's saying that right. A second order array, where you have an array, you have this array which is contained in with this array. Like, so all this thing, I'm kind of, let's see if I can get this to, yeah. So here in this multi-dimensional array, here in the slot 0, we have a nested array of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then array 1, we have another array. And then array 2, we have an array in it, and so forth. And the way that you access this thing is X is going to be this first line below, right? It's going to be the big, how do you say, maybe call it the parent array, but I don't think we really I don't think the terminology is like that. But the X is going to be the first level of the array, and Y is going to be the arrays, the indexes within the array. And with the example I'll go through here, we'll use the console logged and you'll see how it works. But just really quickly here, like if X will be 0, so it's going to say, hey, come to this slot, come to this position, and we're going to be referencing the array in here. And then the Y is going to be these 0 through 6. And then you could go like 0, 0, like X is 0, Y is 0, which will be here and then here, this position. And you could say X is 0, Y is 3, right? So you come here, 0 and 3. So you're going to get this in here. Now let's say if we do array, if we say X is 2, well, we come to the second position of the parent array, or the first level, right? And Y is 6, well, we'll come here to 2 and then 6. And then I'll show you that here shortly, how this renders out with we'll start with the console log first, but I made this diagram to help maybe make it easier for you to visualize what a multi-dimensional array kind of is. All right. So let's just come up here and let's say let multi-dimensional array, and we'll just do that. Okay, and we'll set it up with a typical syntax array, right? We'll set it up with a simple array syntax that we've already learned about down here. Now, the way to structure a multi-dimensional array is you put another array inside, more square brackets, and then you come in here and you just do a comma to separate them. And to start out, let's just go ahead and do a three arrays within this array, right? So let's go ahead and let's see what we can do. How about something simple? Like we'll do cat and meow. Okay, so a cat, it meows. And then we'll come in here and then we'll do bird and then chirp. Okay, and then how about cow and moo? Okay, really simple stuff. Alrighty. So remember that we use this kind of syntax for just a single level or a regular array. So the syntax here to access our strings here, we're going to use the multi-dimensional array variable, copy, and we're going to do this syntax with the two square brackets, right? So looking at our diagram again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. In this case, we're only going to have 2, so it'll just be 0 and 1 for the second level arrays, right? So let's go ahead and put a 0 here and a 0 here. So just thinking it through, we're going to access the multi-dimensional array itself, okay, which is 0. We're going to get the first slot. Remember, this is cat meow together is slot 1, bird chirp is slot 2, and cow moo is slot 3. All right. So we're going to be accessing this array, and then within within the cat and meow array, we're going to access the first slot in it. So we're going to access cat. So, let's go ahead and come down here. And let's say console.log. And let's go ahead and copy that commented section out. Control S to save. Now let's come to our page. Let's come to our developer console, F12, hit refresh, and we have cat. Now, how about if we want to access meow? So we're going to go to the first, like we did before with cat, we'll come to the first index of the baseline array, and we're going to put 1. Okay, Control S to save, refresh. Now we have meow. Well, that's cool. So let's go ahead and let me go ahead and do this. 0, 0, 0, 1, and then we want to access the baseline array. We want to access this whole inside array, right? So we need to come here and go 1 because this is the slot. You know, slot 0 here, and then slot 1. And so I think you can see the pattern that's going to happen. So array 1, and then and then 0 is the 0 index of that. So if that works, we should see bird. And then you can see the pattern that's going to start happening. We'll do 1, 1. Control S to save. Come back to our page, refresh. Cat, meow, bird, chirp, and then let's finish it out. We'll copy those. Control V to paste. And we'll go 2, 0, and 2, 1. Control S to save and refresh, and we have cow and moo. Now, how about we come in here and let's make another array. And then in it, what can we say? So let's think dog goes woof, and it's black. Okay, so let's come in here, console log that, and let's do, so that's 0, 1, 2, that's the third index. So I'll go the third index, and then we'll go 0, 1, 2 to get the color of the dog. Control S to save, come back to our page, and here we have black. So the cool thing about these dimensional arrays is you can make as many indexes or as many slots that you want. And this is really powerful. And once you learn how to work with these, rendering out content, for me it's a very blocky way, a modular way, and that's just the way that my brain works and I think, and the way that I think. And it's a good way to organize and structure your data. I hope this will be a good foundation, because what I want to do is I want to take our nav menu item array and I want to turn it into a multi-dimensional array. Okay? Because if you remember, we had our index, about, blog, careers, contact, right? When we did in the last tutorial. And then you can see here we have terms of service, and we have a lowercase s, and we have privacy policy with the underscore. Well, by using a multi-dimensional array, we can now make things all nice and proper, and we won't have to do all this like char at uppercase and then concatenate the sliced nav menu item that we pull from here. We can make it nice and neat, and I'll show you that step by step using our nav menu item array. And so looking at our structure, we have our href here, right? And we have our interpolation. And this href that we're pulling here is what allows us to come into our code. And let me go ahead and show you here in the elements. That part of the code builds the HTML link, okay? And then in here, this part is the actual text that we see here on the left, right? The index, the about, blog, careers. So what we can do is we can alter the code. We can refactor the code up here in the nav menu item array so that we don't need to, like I said, we don't need to do all this gibberish here. And so we'll come in here and we'll go ahead and start working on that. And as you'll see, I'm putting in square brackets after each of the indexes in here, right? And I'll go ahead and fast forward the video so you don't have to sit here and be bored. Okay, so we've got that completed. Let me make some space here. Now this can be hard to read, so what we're allowed to do is we can come in here and we can structure our HTML. We can structure our JavaScript to make the code easier to manage, and you're allowed to do this. It'll still work, right? So once again, that's a lot easier to read and manage. And again, this won't affect how this renders out. But we have to come in here and fix this. It's not going to work anymore because if it tries to, well, let's just go ahead and see and break it for fun. Let's see what happens when we break it. Come back here, hit refresh, and well, nothing works up here. Our menu isn't coming. Now let's come here to the console, and it says uncaught type error, nav menu item I.char@, is not a function on JavaScript 50. And that's because now we are running a multi-dimensional array, and what's happening is it's coming in here and it says get this one, right? Get I, right? So it comes in here and it says let's get the first zero, the zero index. And it's like, well, I need more information. I can't do anything. I need to know which one of these two you want me to spit out. So that's why it's not working right here, and I wanted to show you what is going on. So now covering the length, okay, it's still going to treat each one of these as one, you know, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, da, 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 and the length is not going to change. Even though we put 2, we have 2 in here, it's just counting how many baseline arrays that we have, or how do you say, first level order arrays that we have. So this isn't going to change, so you don't have to worry about that, okay? But you need to be mindful of that because we're going to render 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we want to come in here, and each one of these menu items is going to be for each time this thing loops through, right? 0 is going to come to 0. Loop around 1, come to index 1. Loop around, come to 2, come to 2, and I think you see the pattern. So we want this first bracket, we want it to remain I, because this is the one that's going to be changing with the loop. Now we want to get the href, which we designated as the first, the 0 index, the first slot, right? So what we'll come in here and we'll do is we'll go ahead and add a pair of square brackets, and we'll hit 0. So with each loop, each pass through, it's going to say come to I, which goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? And it's going to say, hey, get the first index, or index 0. So it's going to get index, about, blog, careers, yada, 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 right? And it's going to stuff it in here. Now, what we'll do is we'll get rid of the stuff from the last lesson. And this time around, we'll copy this, and then we'll paste it, and then we'll put 1 here. And what this is saying is, hey, get the index 1. 0, 1. We're going to get these indexes from the second order or second level array in here, right? So we're going to get the second position with this. So what's going to happen as this thing loops around is it's going to go 1 by 1 and get index of 1. So it'll be index. It'll get the one we with the capitalized letter, and then it'll come to 2. It'll start 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1. All right. So let's go ahead and Control S to save. And let's come to our page. And let's go ahead and refresh. And there we go. And as you can see, everything's rendering out. And you can see that our FAQ is now capitalized. You can see now that we have the private policy with the white space in it. In terms of service, the underscores are gone. Getting back to our code. And so because the way we structured, once again, I should have done this earlier, is that this is the HTML right here. This is the HTML that will link. And then this index here, or this position, is for the text of the nav item or button, whatever you want to call it. So this is really cool. And so we cleaned up our code. We didn't have that ugly string together JavaScript methods anymore. And at the trade-off of, well, we have a little bit more extra code in here. Well, not a big deal, right? The multidimensional array is something that I use heavily, personally, in all of my web applications and websites, because I find it very useful and very easy to understand, because it's very blocky, and that's just the way my mind thinks. And for the random website generator content, I strictly use arrays and multidimensional arrays in order to render out the randomized content. And so all this stuff that we've been talking about, from the beginning lesson all the way up to this lesson, all that is the foundation for a good foundation for web development getting started. But the techniques I've shown you here are going to be crucial for understanding the more difficult portion of the random content website generator that I developed. I hope you guys and gals out there really understand what's going on, and I did my best to really walk you through step by step of how a multi-dimensional array will work. So I'll probably take a break for a couple days of making these tutorial videos on how to code and building out this random content generator, and I'll probably do some work, and I'll wind up working on my C++ project for the peer-to-peer private browsing system that I'm building out. I took a break from it for a while, and my brain's back in the coding mindset, so I'll get back in heavy into some C++ and get that working and make some progress on that. Well, anyhow, I hope you found this this tutorial helpful, and I will see you later. Have fun coding. Bye-bye.